So going back and looking at this video that I'm about to put up, it's actually the best starter guide I've seen for Eternal Evolution. And it wasn't designed to be a starter guide, it was designed to be top 10 tips. But this actually does cover off on everything important to set yourself up for success in the first couple of months. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's all relevant. And there was one mistake I made in the decent caves part. So let me know if you find that, but apologies for it, and enjoy. So this video is going to be the top 10 things that I've learned in Eternal Evolution in the 75 days that I've been playing. There is actually a really good one that I only thought of when I actually started diving into this, which is the Kitosian Temple, which we'll go into at the very end because it's the last focus. But it is actually something I learned, which is pretty cool. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus as much as we can on the campaign. So the progress in your campaign will determine how much sort of idle rewards you get from the game. And the biggest things that you can do to progress yourself through the campaign is to firstly, in week one, get one copy of Leo at least. So the second thing we're going to do is we're going to get Daniel to Immortal in week two. There's tons of events for him. It's where you're going to spend most of your limited tickets. There's also a Hero Rally event, which will also give you another copy of Daniel. So that's the second thing we're going to do. The third thing to get us as far in the campaign as possible is we're going to get ourselves an Immortal copy of Masrani in week four. He's a really solid healer. He's probably not the best healer anymore. He's still definitely up there. But because there's so many events that you get in week four for him, he's the best healer still to this date in my game, 75 days in. The next thing we're going to do, and I'll go into more detail on this later on, is get Senway up. You get a free copy of Senway early on, and Senway is really handy, and you can see he's still in my campaign team at the moment. The next one is Serena. There will come times in the game where it's best to have double healers, and Serena is really good at keeping Leo alive or helping keep Masrani alive, which then allows you to have more healing. There's a separate video I have on that as to like the best campaign team that you can get. There's version 1 and version 2. So that's the first thing we're doing. We are pushing as far as we can through the campaign to get our passive rewards up. What this will allow us to do is level our champs up faster than other people can on our server. A little side note to this as well is once you get into the second month of gaming, you'll get these shards. I made a mistake and I wasn't using these the best way I could, but these you only want to use on Serena. Serena is the only elite champion that you can't get from anywhere else except in your summoning, I don't know what to call it, your exchange shop. So you can get one copy of Serena like every 2 weeks or every week. I think it's every 2 weeks. But apart from that, there's no way you can get her from elite campaign shards. She's just not in here. So yeah, the only place you want to use those mimic shards is on Serena. So the next thing we're going to go into is managing where you're going to spend your tickets. So we're not going to go into Astral Mirror tickets. It's a whole different sort of concept. But the main things we're going to cover on is basic, advanced, and limited. Basic, as soon as you've got 10, pull them. It makes no difference when you pull them. And so the next part of this is that on the Hero Rally event, I don't think we've got one at the moment, but you actually only want to go to 500 tickets or 500 summons. The reason for that is that you'll get tons of rewards up to 500. And then after 500, you'll actually only get, I think your next one is 700 and then 900 and then 1100. And whilst those rewards are like good, arguably better, they're not worth the 200 tickets just to get that next prize. Because before that, you actually get mythic runes, the red runes, and they're really valuable, arguably more valuable than Triple S heroes. So you either have the choice of going to 500 tickets every 2 weeks, or having the choice of going to 700 tickets or 900 tickets and only being able to participate every month. So yeah, I would highly recommend, if you're free to play, 500 tickets every single hero rally. Now, there is a breakdown of how to spend your tickets, because if you only want to reach 500, some weeks you're going to want to use limited tickets and some weeks you're not going to want to use limited tickets. So the first time you're going to use limited tickets first is in week 1. You're going to pull 80 tickets on Leo. That'll obviously get you to pity, but it'll also get you a little bit past pity so that you can get the gene hybrid out of the exchange shop. The gene hybrids, just in case you're not tracking, they are the most important thing to buy from a shop. It's the only thing you want to buy unless you're a whale. The next time you're going to use limited tickets on a Hero Rally event is going to be on week 2, and that's going to be for Daniel. So you're actually going to use all of your limited tickets. I think you need to pull 3 copies of Daniel to get him to Immortal in week 2. So you either want to use all of your limited tickets or up until you get 3 copies of him, and then you can stop. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make up the rest of the 500 tickets through advanced tickets. So for argument's sake, you spend 120 tickets, you get 3 copies of Daniel, stop spending limited tickets, and then you're going to make up the last 380 with advanced tickets. However, if you're 120 in and you still haven't got 3 copies of Daniel, and you've still got more limited tickets, you're going to have to keep pulling more limited tickets, and hopefully you get a 3rd copy of him. Still, you're only trying to get to 500 tickets in total that week. The next time you're going to prioritize using limited tickets on the Hero Rally, it's going to be week 4, and that's with Masrani. So Masrani, same deal. You need to get 3 copies of Masrani. And keep in mind, the 3 copies, you can make up the difference with gene hybrids as well. So by week 4, you'll probably have 3 or 4 gene hybrids. So if you come short on summons, you can just make up with gene hybrids. So yeah, you're going to do the same thing you did with Daniel. You're going to get either 3 copies of Masrani, or you're going to pull all your limited tickets and end up with 2 copies of Masrani. So then moving on to advanced tickets. So the only time we're going to use advanced tickets is only one scenario, and that is on a Hero Rally event. So if there's no reason to pull limited tickets, so there's no limited banner that you want, say for argument's sake, they've got a Warmagon up, and you don't need a copy of Warmagon, don't spend any limited tickets, just spend 500 advanced tickets. Now, if you're like me, and if I was on a Hero Rally event and I was participating, I'd be spending my 300. I'd be waiting till the last day of the event. So the Hero Rally would be over in 3 days. In another 3 days, I might be up to about 420 tickets. So I'll pull all my advanced tickets, and then I'll roll over and I'll pull 80 tickets on Warmagon. That's how you're going to spend your advanced and limited tickets on banners that you don't want to spend limited tickets, if that makes sense. I hope I didn't bastardize that. Next up to lead on to is the wish list. So at the start, you want to have Serena, Taylor, Botmark, Kalaza, and Senway. The reason for this is that you need healers. Taylor and Botmark are really important for Disa Caves. And then you're going to be building up your summoner team, and we're going to go into that soon. All right, so point number 3 is build summoners first. So this kind of touches back on the first 2 points that we've made. So because you get Daniel Immortal for free to play week 2, he is end game powerful and you can build a really strong team around him early game. So you're going to get Daniel Immortal. Again, you get a copy of Senway free. I can't remember where you get him from. I think there's an event, and you might even get a couple of copies of him. And then you're going to have him in your wish list. And in week 2, you're going to go the Hero Rally, and hopefully you get 2 or 3 more copies of him. So you're going to have a really powerful Daniel. You're going to have a powerful Senway, and he's still in my campaign team at campaign 50. And then Kalaza is relatively easy to get to through the wish list, and then you get him through the exchange shop. And then you can also very slowly get copies of him from the hero shards. So you can get Kalaza from all areas of the game that you can get elite heroes from. So yeah, that's going to give you 3 summoners, and that's also going to build out your arena team and that sort of stuff, but mostly the campaign is what we're focused on. But summoners will get you far in all of the content. So whether it's campaign, elite campaign, all your dungeons, everything, summoners are really handy for. So next we're going to go on to balancing your gem expenditure. So I'm 75 days in. I did manage to stay up around the 100,000 or diamonds mark for quite some time, and then I had a huge expenditure. Because I had so many, I pointlessly went and bought out all the spaces for heroes, just so I didn't have to worry about that. But you don't have to spend that. It starts off at 200. That's plenty. So yeah, manage your gem expenditure. So the way you're going to do that is from the shop. The only thing you're going to buy is red runes from here. The soul potions, which is what you level up your heroes' talents with. And then also if you get the yellow runes. So these ones down here, they're the only 3 things you're going to buy from the Wasteland shop. Everything else is not worth it. So that's the first one. And the next one is when we go into the dungeons, you're going to go in here and you're going to spend 500 gems in here. That'll get you 4 extra runs in there. Spend 500 gems in here. I've already bought my 500 worth. It's just that once you get up above spending 500 gems, it gets really expensive. So 1 extra run is going to cost me 300, whereas 4 runs before this, or 4 extra tickets, only cost me 400 or 500. So you can see like it went from 300 and then 1 ticket 600 gems. So that's just too much of a waste. And that's the same with the Lost Valley. I go in every single day, I buy my 4 extra tickets, and that's going to cost me 300, 300, 300, 300. Yeah, so they cost me 300 a piece now. So just to recap, you go in, you spend 500 gems here, 500 gems here, 500 gems here. The next places we're going to spend gems every single day is we're going to go get these extra elite campaign runs. The reason for that is you want to push as far through the elite campaign as possible. It is a little bit tricky, especially when you get up to probably like stage 12, I think. But what this actually does here is it multiplies how much bonus XP you get from your daily rewards. So for argument's sake, you're earning 100,000 XP per day. What I'll do is I'll end up getting a bonus of 56,000 per day being at level 20.9. So this is really important to progress your account further. We're also going to, at the very end of the day, not at the start, you're going to progress as far through the campaign as you can. At the very end of the day, you're going to go buy all your fast patrol rewards. Because if you go make another, say if I was to jump from 51 to 55 in a campaign in a day, the bonus rewards I'll get here will be much more just because I waited till the end of the day. But yeah, you're going to buy all of these every single day. And that is it. That's how we're going to spend gems for the most part. Sometimes there's your little octopus looking dude, I forget his name, and he's got specials. If he's ever got any sort of tickets, I always buy those. And I think, and if he's got the talent potion stuff as well. Right, so number 5, dungeons, where to focus on in order. So specifically me in the Lost Valley. So you're going to start off in Disa Caves. On day 3, you get a free copy of Taylor, and hopefully you get another copy of Taylor. But Taylor will be kind of like powerful enough for early game Disa Caves. Also, week 2, you'll have a focus on Taylor and Botmark. And also Daniel in week 2 is really effective in Disa Caves. So by the end of week 2, you'll progress really far in Disa Caves. You get extra gear, and that gear will then allow you to progress even further in Disa Caves. And once you've got Daniel will be really strong in Sinsaro Marsh. So you're going to focus the first couple of weeks getting as far through Disa Caves as you can. So all your extra soul potions that you have, you'll be putting on trying to get as much gear as possible. However, until you can get to stage 10, you're not going to use any of your stamina supplements. You're only going to start using stamina supplements once you get to level 11, because that's where you start getting your legendary equipment. And it is a huge jump going from mythic to legendary. So don't spend any of these until you can get to stage 11. And that should be by the end of week 2, because you have Daniel up relatively powerful by then. At the same time, once Daniel gets powerful enough, he'll allow you to get to stage... You don't have to get as far through here, I don't think. Yeah, so you only need to get to stage 9 on Sinsaro Marsh, and then you can start getting the top commanders, but you have a better drop rate the further up you go. So, yeah, the focus is going to be Disa Caves, get yourself to level 11, get your extra gear, and then it's going to be Sinsaro Marsh. Once you've got a few good commanders that are leveled up in Sinsaro Marsh, then you're going to start spending your extra soul potions or stamina supplements on getting your prototypes. Once you've got your prototypes sort of like 80% maxed out, you actually want to go back to Sinsaro Marsh, because by then you'll have tons of equipment and you'll kind of be at like your account will stagnate. Like an extra piece of equipment would be very, very small reward compared to starting to focus on building up your commanders. So yeah, we're going to focus Disa Caves, Sinsaro Marsh, Terradome, and then we're going to go back to focusing Sinsaro Marsh. And 75 days in, all of my extra stamina supplements go into Sinsaro Marsh. So going on to number 6. So look into the future. So if I look at what I've got in my bag, I have got an absolute ton of Soul Rubellite. I can't get through this Soul Rubellite. So, and you can see I've got 13 24-hour stacks. So that's another 57k, like 100,000 all up. So you don't need to buy any extra of this. Back in the day, you used to have to buy as much Soul Rubellite as you can. But these days, you get a ton of Soul Rubellite in this game. So what I'm actually struggling on is XP and gold. So gold used to be in a huge amount of abundance, but once you get your heroes to level 240, you can hyper evolve them, and hyper evolving is expensive. So it costs 20 million to do a triple S, and I think 10 million. Let me check. Yeah, and 10 million for a elite. So at the moment, I've got 2 hyper evolution crystals for triple S, but I've only got 20 million. It takes me a long time to save 20 million, so I'm actually waiting to get Fiona up one more level. So yeah, looking at the future, you'll get a ton of Soul Rubellite, but you will struggle with XP and you will struggle with gold. So stockpile those resources. So the point of all that is you want to get as much XP and gold as possible, and Soul Rubellite comes along with it as well. But that goes back to focusing on the campaign and the competitive side of me coming out. You're only in competition for the most part with people on your server. So you want to jump in every now and again and make sure your account's kind of comparing okay. And again, got to remember I'm free to play. So not everyone on this server is. And obviously we've got some big spenders up here. These two normally come 1 and 2 in the summon arena. So I can't compete with these guys. But yeah, I can see on the server I'm pretty competitive. And what this shows is how many rewards I'm getting from my daily patrols. So really focus on the campaign, get your account further, you get more XP, you get more gold, you'll get more Soul Rubellite. In line with this as well, though, is back when I first started playing, Crimson Abyss did not exist. As soon as I started playing this account, Crimson Abyss was there from the very beginning. But the rewards you get from this, like if I beat level 12, which I'm struggling at, that is 50,000 Soul Rubellite, which is, I don't even need it. But it's almost 13 million in XP, which would be huge. That'd be 8 levels on Daniel's Hyper Evolution at the moment. And you can obviously sit there and get limited tickets and stuff as well. But yeah, the amount of progress you can make from, well, what was it back here? Oh, it doesn't show you the first time, but it's always huge. It's like, even back here, it's like 3 million or 5 million XP, which is really, really good. So yeah, Crimson Abyss is a huge addition to the game, probably the single biggest addition to progress your account. And you really want to make sure you're trying to get through here as much as you can. And summoners are actually designed for this. So with this sort of whole, what I've learned in 75 days, building summoners really helps with this piece as well. All right, going on to number 8. This is old content now, but Ancient Altar is still your biggest place to get yourself tickets. And your entire account will stagnate at some point, but the last thing you'll stagnate on is needing new champs. So, and the only way you get new champs is with tickets. So the Ancient Altar is still viable because you can get so many tickets. Having a quick look, for these 3 difficulties, Hell, Hard, and Normal, if you actually kill the boss, which I have, you'll double these rewards. So I'm looking at getting 12 to 16 limited tickets just for killing Hell, and then 8 to 12. So you're looking at sort of like 40 to 50 limited tickets just for killing off this guy every single week. And then you get a few more than that. So it's probably more like 60 to 70 for advanced tickets. So all up, over 100 tickets that you're getting each week for this. So yeah, important to kind of get through this. And again, focusing on summoners really helps. I think end of week 4 is when you can start killing off Hell with this build, like summoner build. So yeah, really good piece of equipment here. And it also gives you the next tier of equipment above what you can get in the Terradome. Above the Lost Valley. The best combination to use once you can like kill this easy, like I could easily go through and one shot all of these, but you want to do 3 hits on Hell. The reason for that is that for each run through on Hell, you have a chance of 1 to 3 tickets. So if I was to one shot Hell, I could get maximum 3 tickets. But if I was to do 3 shots on Hell, I'd have a chance of getting 9 tickets, so triple the amount. So yeah, and at a minimum, I might get 1 ticket, and at a minimum, if I do 3 hits, I get 3 tickets, and then also you're advanced. So yeah, well worth making sure you run 3 hits on Hell, 1 hit on Hard, and 1 hit on Normal. So that's the Ancient Altar. So next up, we're going into Twilight Lands. Now, this is definitely the best place for rewards in the entire game. This is the only place free to play where you can get triple S Hyper Evolution shards. You get a ton of limited tickets. You get tons of I think you get 8 Gene Hybrid. It's the only place you can easily get mythic prototypes, which is your red prototypes. Yeah, it's just the best rewards that you can get. And summoners can conquer about 75% of the content in this game. There's only a few stages where summoners struggle. But again, the second time Twilight Lands populated, and me focusing on the builds of summoners, I managed to get all the way through to 1510, which originally was the end. But then they've got like a bonus stage now, which is like the EX difficulty, which is super hard. I couldn't even finish the first stage in 3 days. But yeah, building building from this guide, you'll be able to finish Twilight Lands essentially on your second attempt. And there's also a tip with Twilight Lands, which I figured out as well, is that if you save your attempt at attacking until the last couple of hours before you can reset your team, what will happen is that everyone will go through and they'll finish it, and you'll get a little perk called a speed run bonus. You can get 10 of those stacked up on one stage, and at 10, it means that all the enemies will have 20% less health, and they'll do 20% less damage. And that's big, but when you put those together, that's huge because a lot of the bad guys or a lot of the bosses scale up damage over time. So if they've got 20% less health, you're going to get through that stage really quick. And then because they're doing 20% less damage, you have a huge chance of finishing that stage, but also actually having enough health to carry you through into the next battle. So you'll get a 20% of 20% is big, but when you put them together, it's almost like a 50% perk. It's going to be twice as easy for you to actually finish that stage than it was for the first person going through. So if you're not an OP strong character or player, wait until everyone's gone through and done their run and then go through and do it. Obviously, just make sure you do it every single day and you don't miss a day. All right, so that's the Twilight Lands. Now, the last one, which I actually only just figured out as I was doing a little bit of study for this video. So the Kitosian Triangle, the best way to think about this is 2 separate games of rock, scissors, paper. So rock beats scissors, scissors beat rock. Rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock. So again, naturally I follow the path of going summoners. Most people say go summoners, and that's mostly because Daniel is one of the top 5 characters in the game, and you get him immortal for free in week 2. So what Daniel is really good at killing is the Mirage space. So in here, this guy's attack, and not just Daniel, summoners. This guy's attack will actually spread its damage out over all of your players. So the more sort of summons you have on the battlefield, the less damage everybody's going to take. So you'll be able to progress through this quite well. But what happens is that you don't get summoner gear from this. So if you have a look at strategy to line up, everyone's using summoner teams to beat this guy, but the gear that you get is not for summoners. It's for assassins. So what this is going to mean for me is that I'll go through and I'm going to I've built out my summoner team, and now this is actually giving me really good equipment for assassins. So next up, now that I've finished my summoning team, I'm going to be focusing on assassins because I have a ton of good gear for them. The irony thing, though, is that Daniel is so good, along with Taylor, that I've progressed further in Roulette of Truth. And this actually gives me gear that's focused for energy characters. So like Luke and Falvia and that sort of stuff. Although Falvia is not very good, but I have a very, very bad energy team. So what I'm going to be able to do is with summoners, I can go through and I can kill this. This will give me good assassin gear, which will allow me to progress further in here, although I already have. And then with the gear here, once I finish my assassin team, Crimson Rot is best off taken with energy heroes and assassins. Well, yeah, a bit of a mix. So the best team up here has got a triple energy hero with a Vanguard, and the other ones are using a bit of a mix. But yeah, energy is the recommended team for this, and you'll be getting a ton of good gear for energy heroes from here. So you're basically going to go Mirage Space, Roulette of Truth, Crimson Rot. And then the Crimson Rot gear actually gives you good summoner equipment. And then that obviously is the circle where these guys just loop around. Now over here on Molten Abyss, which should be the easiest one to progress in out of these three, you get good gear for if you can knock down. And knockdown comes from tanks like Teresh. So what you can do is once you can progress through Molten Abyss with Hunters, you can then jump up and do the Battle of Zura with some good gears, assist you with knockdown skills. And then this one here gives abilities for charge, which is like what Vanguards do for the most part. And then Vanguards are designed for taking out this guy. And then this guy gives you Bugmaster equipment, and I'm not sure on this, but I think this guy's a bug. So I think you'll do extra damage to this guy once you've started completing this. This gear is some of the best because when you go up to things like Endless Battle or Twilight Lands, that particular gear, Bugmaster, makes you do 50% against normal bugs, elites, and bosses. So really, really good set here. And Unleashed is good for rapid-fired characters. So yeah, this is really, really good gear out of here. And that will help you out in Twilight Lands and also help you out in the Endless Battle. So that's the top 10 things. To recap, you want to get as far through the campaign as possible. You want to manage how you spend your tickets. You want to focus on summoners first. You want to find a balance for spending your gems because you don't want to go backwards in gems. You always want to have gems stockpiled. You want to focus on going Disa Cave, Sinsaro Marsh, and then Taradome. You want to plan for the future, and that's mostly in regards to resource planning. You have tons of Soul Rubelite, but you really need to get through campaign and Crimson Abyss. The next one is the Crimson Abyss. You really want to focus on that after you focus on campaign. Next up is the Ancient Altar. You want to be using the 3-1-1 method for hitting him to get maximum tickets. Next up, you want to be planning for Twilight Lands. And then the final one is the Ketosian Triangle. And that will assist you in how you actually build your team out. So getting summoners, getting assassins, getting energy heroes. And then you can start focusing on these ones once you've got stronger teams. I suppose the one final bonus tip that I hadn't mentioned is build one full team out first. So build one full summoner team so you can finish all summoning content. And then for me, I want to build out the assassins because I've got tons of gear for them. I've got really good commanders. So I really want to build out the assassin team, and they're really strong in the content that I'm not very strong in at the moment. And then once you've got that, again, like I said, naturally, I'm going to have a lot of good energy equipment. So I think energy heroes will be next for me after summoners, then assassins. But there's no point me going building one hero for Vanguard, one hero for tank, because I'm just not going to progress through as much content as I could. Anyway, I hope that kind of helps. That's a 75-day overlook to the account and where I would recommend focusing and how to focus. So thanks for listening. Hope it helps. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.